My son told me he made special plans for Mother's Day at a fancy restaurant. I got dressed in my best clothes all day long. Then his wife's mother walked into my kitchen wearing a shiny fancy dress. "Son-in-law, let us go eat our special food now," she said with a big smile. He looked at me and smiled in a mean way. "Mom, you really thought I was taking you?" I said nothing back. But when the clock showed midnight, my phone kept ringing and ringing. "Mom, the bank stopped my card from working. I need $15,000 right now in real money." What I told him next made him very scared and worried. But I need to tell you how everything started from the very beginning. Let me explain how Mother's Day became the day when my whole life changed forever and nothing was the same anymore. It was Sunday after lunch, exactly at 3:30 in the afternoon. I stood in my bedroom looking at myself in the big mirror on the wall. I picked out a beautiful blue dress that I bought just for this special day. It was not too fancy or too plain, just nice enough to make me feel good about myself for once. I wore the small gold earrings that my husband who died gave to me many years ago when we were young and happy together. I put pretty pink color on my mouth. I pulled my hair back into a nice neat shape at the back of my head. Every small thing was important to me because my son Marcus had told me he would take me somewhere nice to eat. One of those places where you must call them many weeks before you can get a table to sit at. I had been getting ready since the morning started. I took a very long hot bath and picked underwear that had no holes or broken parts. I took this dress from my closet that I bought almost a month ago when I was thinking about this special day. I made sure there were no wrinkles by using the hot iron very carefully on every part. I wanted everything to be just right and perfect because my son had called me. My Marcus, who never seemed to have any time left for me anymore. The same boy who would say he cannot come for lunch and forgot when my birthday was. He called me himself on the phone to say he made a special booking at a restaurant. He wanted to spend this day with me. He said this year would not be like all the other years. And I believed what he said. Oh my, how much I believed his words. I looked at my face in the mirror one more time. 63 years looked back at me from the glass. Lines around my eyes and dark spots on my hands from getting old. But I looked nice. I looked like a mother who was going to eat dinner with her son somewhere special. Like a woman who still mattered to someone. I walked down the stairs in my house very slowly and carefully. My knees hurt and do not work like they did when I was young. But on this day I did not even feel any pain at all. I felt happy and nervous like a young girl, waiting for her very first special date with a boy. The clock on the wall said 10 minutes before 4. Marcus told me he would come get me exactly at 4 o'clock. So I sat down on my living room chair with my purse sitting on my legs. I waited to hear his car pull up outside my house. Everything was so quiet in my home. That kind of quiet that became my friend every single day since my husband got sick and died 4 years ago. That quiet that only stops when I turn on the TV to hear people talking. Or when Marcus calls me on the phone to ask me for something he needs. But today the quiet felt different than usual. It was a quiet that was full of hope and excitement. Full of thinking that maybe, just maybe, my son remembered that I am still here and alive. I heard a car engine making noise outside. My heart jumped inside my chest and beat very fast. I stood up quickly and made my dress look smooth and neat. I checked that my purse had my wallet and my keys and everything I needed inside. But the car just drove past my house. It was not him coming for me. I sat back down on the chair. I looked at the clock again. 5 minutes after 4. Then 10 minutes. Then 15 minutes past 4 o'clock. Marcus always came late to everything. That was nothing new to me. I told myself not to worry in my head. The roads probably had too many cars on them. He was surely driving here right now. At 4:30, I heard another car coming down the street. This time it stopped right in front of my house where I live. I got up very fast and grabbed my purse tight. I walked toward my front door ready to go. But before I could even open the door myself, I heard people talking and laughing outside my house. It was not just Marcus alone out there. I opened my door and what I saw made me feel confused and lost. There was my son standing there. Yes, he looked so tall and handsome in his nice black suit that fit him perfectly. But he did not come by himself. Next to him, getting out of the front seat, was his wife Jennifer. And behind both of them, getting out from the back seat, another person was stepping down onto the sidewalk. It was Patricia, Jennifer's mother and my son's wife's mother. She was not dressed in regular clothes. No, Patricia wore a long red shiny dress that went all the way to her feet. It had sparkly things all over it, and she wore a soft scarf around her neck. She had very tall shoes on and lots of jewelry that shined bright in the afternoon sun. She was dressed like she was going to a fancy party or a big important show. I could not move from my doorway. My brain tried very hard to understand what my eyes were seeing in front of me. Maybe they came to pick me up first and then would take Patricia somewhere else after. Maybe she had another place to go to later. But then Patricia walked toward my front steps with that way of walking she always had. That way people walk when they know everyone is looking at them and they like it. She walked up my 3 front steps and looked at me from my head down to my feet. "Diane, what a sweet little dress you have on," she said with a smile that did not look kind or real. "Very good for just staying inside your house today." I did not understand what she meant by that. I looked at Marcus, trying to find an answer in his face. He would not look at me and just stared at his phone in his hands. Jennifer was fixing her hair like nothing strange was happening at all. Patricia walked right past me and went into my living room even though I did not invite her inside. She stood right in the middle of my room and looked all around like she was checking everything. She turned around in a circle on her tall shoes and smiled at me again. "Son-in-law, I am all ready for our dinner tonight," she said while looking at Marcus, who had just walked in behind her. That was the exact moment when everything stopped moving. Patricia's words played over and over in my head. "Our dinner. Son-in-law. Ready." Marcus finally looked up from his phone screen. He looked right at me and then it happened. He made a smile on his face. It was not a warm, happy smile. It was not the smile a son gives his mother. It was a crooked, mean smile. Like what he was about to say to me was somehow funny to him. "Mom, did you actually think this was for you?" The words just hung in the air between us like smoke. Like poison. Like something that once you say it out loud, you can never take it back or make it go away. I just stood there staring at him. My son. The tiny baby I carried inside my body for 9 months. The little boy I raised all by myself after his father got very sick. The man I put before everything and everyone else. In my whole entire life. And he was looking at me like I was nobody. Like it was silly and stupid that I thought the Mother's Day dinner was for me. For his actual mother. Patricia made a small giggling sound. Jennifer looked away from me, feeling uncomfortable, but did not say one word. "The table at the restaurant is booked for 5:30, Mom," Marcus said while putting his phone into his pocket. "And like I already told you, I only booked seats for 3 people to sit. I thought I made that very clear to you." Clear. Clear when? I could not remember any talk where he told me the dinner was not for me. I remembered when he called me on the phone. I remembered his voice telling me about the special restaurant booking. I remembered asking him what time he would pick me up and he said around 4 o'clock. But now he stood in my own living room with his wife's mother dressed like a queen, telling me that I got it all wrong, that I just assumed things, that I thought things that were not true or real. I said absolutely nothing out loud. I could not make words come out of my mouth. The words got stuck somewhere deep inside between my chest and my throat. Between the hurt and the shock of it all. "Well, we really should get going now," Patricia said as she walked toward my front door. "I do not want us to lose our table at the restaurant. You know how those fancy places work, Marcus. If you show up late, they give your table away to other people waiting." Yes, we are leaving right now," my son replied and held out his arm for his mother-in-law like a gentleman. Like the most wonderful son you could ever imagine. Like the perfect son-in-law anyone would want. Jennifer walked out behind them both without even glancing at me once. All 3 of them went down my front steps together. All 3 of them got into the car and buckled their seatbelts. All 3 of them drove away down my street. And I stayed standing right there in the doorway of my own house. With my blue dress still on my body. With my gold earrings still in my ears. With my purse still in my shaking hand. Watching my son's car get smaller and smaller as it went away. Watching them leave me behind on Mother's Day. All alone by myself. I closed my front door very slowly and gently. I did not slam it hard. I did not scream or yell. I did not do any of those big loud things you see in movies. I just closed it quietly. And stood there in the front hall of my house not really knowing what to do next. The quiet came back again, but now it felt completely different than before. It was not that quiet full of hope anymore. It was an empty, heavy quiet. Like someone turned off every light in the world at the same time. And I was trying to walk around in the dark, not knowing where to go. I took off my nice shoes from my feet. I walked back up the stairs slowly, one at a time. I went into my bedroom and sat down on the edge of my bed. I did not even take the dress off yet. I just sat there staring at the wall in front of me, trying to understand exactly what just happened to me today. Let me tell you what my days looked like before all this happened. Before my son took away the last little bit of hope I had left inside me. Because to understand what happened on that day, you need to know what my life was like every single day. You need to see what I saw each morning when I woke up in my empty house. I wake up every single morning at 6 o'clock exactly. Not because I have a job to go to. Not because someone is waiting for me anywhere. I wake up because my body does not know how to sleep past that time anymore. Because after so many years of waking up early to make breakfast for my husband and my son, my body just does it automatically now without thinking. I put on my old robe and go downstairs to the kitchen. I make coffee, but only enough for one person. Just 1 cup, not 2 cups. There is nobody else here anymore to drink the other cup. I sit at my kitchen table where all 3 of us used to eat breakfast together as a family. Where Marcus did his school homework while I cooked our dinner. Where my husband read the newspaper every morning and told me about what was happening in the world. Now that big table is way too large for just one person sitting there alone. I drink my hot coffee without saying a word. Sometimes I turn the television on just so I can hear voices talking. So my house does not feel so dead and empty. I watch shows about cooking or the news or whatever program is playing. It really does not matter what I watch. I just need to hear noise and voices. After that, I wash my 1 cup in the sink. Just 1 single cup. And then I start cleaning a house that is already perfectly clean. Because what else am I supposed to do with my time? I use the vacuum on carpets that have no dirt on them. I dust furniture that nobody ever touches or uses. I fold towels in the closet that only I use for my showers. By 10 o'clock in the morning, all my housework is completely finished and done. And the whole day has barely even started yet. There are still 8 more hours until it is time to make dinner for myself. 8 long hours of absolutely nothing to do. Sometimes I go outside to my back garden. I water the plants and flowers my husband planted in the ground before he died. I pull out the bad weeds growing between them. I sit on the metal bench he put there so I could sit in the sunshine. But the warm sun does not feel the same when you sit in it all by yourself. Other times I drive my car to the grocery store. I walk up and down the aisles very slowly, taking my time with everything. Because I am not in any hurry at all. Because nobody is at home waiting for me to come back. I buy things I do not really need just so I have a good reason for leaving my house. A bag of oranges even though I still have some. Fresh bread when I have bread at home. More soap even though I already have 4 bars in my bathroom. The ladies who work at the cash register know who I am now. Mrs. Diane, how are you feeling today? They ask me with kind smiles. I am doing fine, I always tell them back. Always fine. Because what else can I say to them? That I am lonely. That my son never calls me anymore. That some days I go from morning to night without speaking to another human being. I drive back home carrying my shopping bags inside. I put everything away in the cupboards and the refrigerator. And then I keep on waiting. Waiting for the telephone to ring. Waiting for it to be Marcus calling to say he is coming over to visit me. That he will stop by to have lunch with me. That he needs something. Anything at all. Any reason or excuse to see my son's face. But the phone almost never rings anymore. And when it does ring, it is almost never him calling. The calls are from banks trying to sell me credit cards I do not want. They are recorded robot voices trying to sell me insurance. They are wrong numbers from strangers. Hello, is Sarah there? They ask. No, nobody named Sarah lives at this house, I tell them. Oh, sorry, they say and hang up fast. And I am left holding the phone in my hand, wishing so badly it had been my son. Wishing I could hear his voice saying, Mom, how are you? On Wednesday mornings I drive to the farmer's market in town. I walk slowly between the tables covered with fresh fruits and vegetables. I say hello to the ladies who have been selling there for many years. We shop at the same places and know each other now. We talk about the weather outside. About how expensive tomatoes are now. About how everything costs more money every single day. They are also alone just like me. Widows and divorced women. Women whose children grew up and moved far away. We know each other without needing to explain. We understand what it feels like to wake up in an empty house. We know what it is like to cook dinner for only one person. We know how much it hurts deep inside. On Friday afternoons, I clean my house even deeper than usual. I wash the curtains hanging on the windows. I dust places where there is not even any dust. I organize my closets that are already perfectly organized. I keep myself busy doing things because if I stop moving, if I just sit down doing nothing, the sad thoughts come into my mind. And those thoughts hurt me so much. I think about my husband and how different life was when he was still alive. About how the house felt so full of life back then. About how there was always someone to talk to. Someone who asked me how my day went. Someone who noticed if I looked sad or upset about something. I think about Marcus when he was a small child. About how he used to run through this house making noise. About how he would hug me tight when he came home from school. Mom, Mom, look what I made today, he would shout. And I would drop whatever I was doing to look at his drawings. To listen to his stories. To show him that he was the most important thing in my whole world. When did everything change so much? At what exact moment did I stop being important to him? Maybe it was when he met Jennifer and fell in love. Maybe it was when they got married and started their own family together. Maybe it happened so slowly over time that I did not even notice it happening until it was already too late to fix. The phone calls got shorter and shorter. His visits became less and less. My birthdays got forgotten. His promises got broken over and over. Everything changed little by little like water dripping on a rock. Eventually it makes a deep hole even though each drop is tiny. But I kept waiting anyway. I kept believing things would get better somehow. That my son would remember I am still alive. That he would realize his mother was sitting at home waiting for him. Always waiting no matter what. Because that is what mothers do, is it not? We wait. We forgive. We make excuses for them. He is just very busy, I told myself over and over. He has his job and his wife and his own life now. It is normal for children to grow up and leave. That is just how life works. But there is a big difference between a child growing up and leaving home. And a child making you feel invisible like you do not exist. There is a difference between having your own life. And treating your mother like she does not matter anymore. And I started to feel that difference every single day of my life. In every phone call that never came. In every promise he did not keep. In every time I had to call him first because I knew if I did not, he would never call me at all. Hello my son, how are you doing? I am very busy right now, Mom. I will call you back later. And later never came. Are you coming over for lunch this Sunday? Cannot come, Mom. We already have other plans. What kind of plans? Just plans, Mom. I will tell you about them later. And he never told me anything. Your birthday was 2 days ago. Did you get my text message I sent? Yes, Mom. Thank you so much. Sorry I could not call you. Work was crazy that day. And I was left standing there with words stuck in my mouth. With a birthday cake I bought from the store. Hoping that maybe, just maybe, he would show up to surprise me. I got used to celebrating everything alone by myself. My birthday. Christmas Day. New Year's Eve. I sat alone watching the fireworks on my TV from my living room couch. I lifted my glass of apple juice in the air. Happy New Year, Diane, I said to myself. And I kept hoping that next year would be different. That Marcus would remember me next year. That he would want to spend time with me next year. But the years kept passing and nothing changed. Or maybe things did change. They changed and got worse. Because now when he did call me, it was only when he needed something from me. Mom, can you watch our dog this weekend while we go away? Mom, do you still have that recipe for your chicken soup? Mom, can you send me some money just until I get paid? And I always said yes to everything. Always. Because it was the only way he still needed me. The only way to still be a part of his life. Even if it was just as someone useful. As someone who solves his problems. As someone who gives and gives without expecting anything back. Except I did expect something back. I expected that one day he would see me for real. That he would appreciate me. That he would realize everything I had done for him. Everything I had always done since he was born. I raised Marcus all by myself during the last years when my husband was dying slowly. I worked part-time at a clothing store to help pay our bills. I would run from work to take Marcus to his baseball practice. To help him with his school homework. To cook dinner for the family. To take care of my husband who got weaker every day. I barely slept at night. I hardly ate any food. I lived like a robot on automatic. Because I had to keep everything working and running smoothly. I had to be strong for both of them. For my son and for my dying husband. When my husband finally died, Marcus was only 16 years old. I promised him he would have everything he needed. That we were going to be okay together. And I kept that promise. I worked 2 jobs at the same time. I gave up everything for myself. I forgot I even existed so he could go to college. So he could have a career and a future. A better life than I ever had. And he did it. He graduated from college. He got a really good job. He met Jennifer and they got married. He has a beautiful house now. Brand new car. Expensive clothes. Trips to fun places. But somewhere along that path to success, he forgot who helped him get there. He forgot all the nights I stayed awake sewing clothes for other people to pay for his school. He forgot all the times I ate cheap food all week so he could have good meat for dinner. Or maybe he did not forget at all. Maybe he just did not care anymore. The hurtful things did not happen all at once. They came slowly bit by bit. Like a quiet sickness that grows inside you. You do not notice it until it is already deep inside and too late. First they were such small things. So small that I made excuses for them myself. I told myself I was overreacting. That this is normal. That this is how children act when they become adults. The very first time Marcus canceled lunch plans with me was 2 months after his wedding. We had agreed to meet on a Saturday afternoon. I had been cooking since early that morning. I made his favorite meal. That special beef stew with carrots he loved since he was a little boy. I set my table nicely with the good plates. The fancy ones I only used for special occasions. At 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I got his text message. Something came up. Let us do it another day instead. I stood there looking at all the food on my stove. All that hard work. All that love I put into every ingredient. For nothing at all. I put everything into containers in the refrigerator. I ate by myself at the big empty table. The stew tasted wrong somehow. Tasted like disappointment. Another day, he said. There will be another day. But another day took a very long time to come. 2 weeks passed. Then 3 weeks. Then a whole month went by. I did not want to bother him. I did not want to be that annoying mother. That mother who does not understand her kids have their own lives now. Finally I called him on the phone. Son, when are you coming to have lunch with me? I still have your stew saved in my freezer. Oh Mom, right now is really complicated. Work is super busy. Jennifer has things she needs to do. We will see. We will see. Those 2 words became his answer for absolutely everything I asked. Are you coming for my birthday this year? We will see, Mom. Can we see each other this Sunday? We will see. Can you call me when you have a few minutes? We will see, Mom. And I just kept waiting. I kept cooking extra food just in case he decided to visit. I kept cleaning my house just in case he wanted to come over. I kept buying his favorite cookies and keeping them in my cupboard just in case. But the just-in-case moments never happened. When he did visit me, it was always super quick. Very fast. He would arrive in a big hurry with his car engine still running. With Jennifer sitting outside waiting for him. Hi Mom, I just came to drop off these papers. Can you keep them for me? We do not have room at our house. And I kept his boxes and his old papers. His stuff he did not want anymore but did not want to throw away either. My house became his storage place. The place where he left things that were no longer useful to him, including me. There was one afternoon when I needed help changing a light bulb on my ceiling. It was very high up where I could not reach. Called Marcus for help. Son, could you come help me change a light bulb? It will only take 5 minutes. Mom, I am driving right now. I will call you back in a little while. He never called me back. Not that day. Not the next day. The light bulb stayed broken and dark for 3 whole weeks. Until I asked my neighbor's teenage son to help me. A 19-year-old boy who did not even know me. But he had more kindness than my own son. I paid him $50 for 5 minutes of work. He did not want to take my money, but I made him. At least somebody deserved a reward for helping me. When I told Marcus about it days later, his answer was so simple. Oh, that is good, Mom. Good job. Not even an I am sorry. Not even I should have helped you myself. Nothing. Like it was the most normal thing in the world. That his 63-year-old mother had to pay a stranger. Because he did not have time for her. But what hurt me the most was not the cancelled plans. It was not the quick visits. It was not the forgotten things. What hurt most was seeing him make time for other people. Because Marcus did visit Patricia every single Sunday without fail. He went to his mother-in-law's house with flowers in his hand. With bottles of wine. With presents wrapped in pretty paper. He stayed there for many hours. They ate lunch together. They talked and laughed. I know because one time I drove past Patricia's house on a Sunday afternoon. It was not on purpose. I was driving home from the store and there was Marcus's car. Parked right in front of her house. Jennifer was sitting in the garden. Marcus was helping Patricia dig holes to plant new flowers. I stopped my car on the corner and hid behind a big tree. I watched them. I watched him do everything he no longer did with me. Smiling, talking, being present and happy. I kept driving before they could see me standing there. I did not want them to know I saw them. I did not want to look like the jealous mother. The sad, pathetic mother spying on her own son. But that picture stayed stuck in my head. Marcus planting flowers in Patricia's garden. Marcus who did not have time to change my light bulb. Who did not have time to eat lunch with me. Who was always too busy. Except he was not too busy at all. He was just too busy for me. The holidays were even worse than regular days. Christmas. New Year's. Thanksgiving. He always had plans already made. Always with Jennifer's family. We are going to be at my mother-in-law's house, Mom. Patricia already bought all the food. She already invited the whole family. We cannot cancel on her now. And what about me? I wanted to ask him. Am I not family too? Do I not count? But I did not ask those questions. I just said, okay son, have a good time. And I hung up the phone before he could hear my voice start to break. I spent every holiday completely alone. I bought a frozen dinner for one person from the store. I heated it up in the microwave. I ate it while sitting in front of the television, watching Christmas movies where families were all together, where mothers did not spend Christmas alone. And I cried. Oh my, how much I cried. With a plate of food on my lap. With the Christmas tree lights that I did not even put up anymore. Because what was the point? With my phone in my hand. Hoping that maybe, just maybe, Marcus would call to wish me Merry Christmas. Sometimes he did call at 11 o'clock at night. When he was already back at his own house. When he already had dinner with everybody except me. Hey Mom. Merry Christmas. How did you spend your day? It was fine, son. Quiet. That is good. Well, I should let you go. I have work early tomorrow. Take care of yourself. You too, son. And then he was gone. And I was left holding those tiny crumbs of attention. Those 30 seconds of conversation. That Merry Christmas said in a rush. Said because he had to say it so he would not feel guilty. My 63rd birthday was especially painful to live through. Marcus did not come over. He did not call me. He did not even send a text message. Nothing at all. I waited the entire day. I checked my phone every 5 minutes. Maybe he forgot in the morning but would remember later. Maybe he was planning a surprise for me. Maybe he was going to show up suddenly with a cake and candles. But he never came. The day ended. 12 o'clock midnight. 63 years old. All alone. The next morning I sent him a message. Son, yesterday was my birthday. His answer came 4 hours later. Oh Mom, I am so sorry. Completely slipped my mind. You know how busy work is. Happy belated birthday. I will make it up to you later. He never made it up to me. There never was a later. But 2 weeks after that I saw photos on his social media account. Photos from Patricia's birthday party. He had gone to her party. He brought a giant cake covered in frosting. There were decorations everywhere. Balloons. A real celebration. And there was my son in the pictures. Smiling so big. Hugging his mother-in-law tight. Singing happy birthday to her. Being the perfect son-in-law. Closed my phone. I sat down on my bed. And something inside my heart broke a little bit more. I started to understand clearly. It was not that Marcus did not have time. It was not that he was too busy with life. It was that he had decided to spend his time somewhere else. With another family. With another mother. And I had become the backup choice. The person he only called when he needed something. Money. Favor. A place to keep his boxes. Mom, can you lend me $3,000? Things got complicated this month with some bills. And I sent him the money without asking questions. Without asking when he would pay me back. Because I knew he would not. Because I knew that was the price. The price of keeping some kind of connection with him. Mom, can you store some boxes for me? We're going to paint our house and need space. And I made room. I moved all my things around. I stored his things. I turned my garage into his personal storage room. Mom, can you make that stew you make? Jennifer is having people over and wants to bring it. And I cooked all day long. I woke up early. I bought all the ingredients. I spent hours in the hot kitchen. I packed it all nicely in containers. I drove it to his house. And they did not even ask me to stay. Thanks, Mom. I will give you money for the ingredients later. He did not give me the money later. But I never complained or said anything. Because complaining meant pushing him further away from me. It meant being the problem mother. The mother who does not understand. The bitter, angry mother. And I did not want to be that kind of mother. I wanted to be the mother he wanted to visit. The mother he wanted to spend time with. Not because he had to. Not because he needed something. But because I really mattered to him. But every day it became more clear. That was never going to happen. It was 4 weeks before Mother's Day when everything changed. Or at least when I thought things had changed for the better. It was a Thursday afternoon. I was in my kitchen making dinner. Just for myself like always. Plain white rice and a piece of grilled fish. Nothing special. When you cook for just one person you stop trying hard anymore. Does not make sense to try. The phone rang loudly. I looked at the screen. Marcus. My heart did that silly jump it always did when I saw his name. That jump of hope. Of maybe this time will be different. Hello. Hi Mom, how are you doing today? Something in his voice sounded different. Warmer. More present. Like when he was a little boy coming home happy from school. I'm fine, son. How are you? Everything good. Yes, Mom, everything is really good. Hey, I was calling to tell you something important. I sat down on a kitchen chair. My hand shook a little bit holding the phone tight. I do not know why exactly. Maybe because it had been so long since he called just to talk. Just to tell me something. Not to ask for a favor. What happened, son? Is everything okay? Well, you know Mother's Day is coming up soon, right? Yes, of course I knew. I had been waiting for it with mixed feelings. Hoping maybe this year would be different. Scared it would be the same as all the years before. Alone. Well, Mom, I want to do something really special this year. I made a reservation at a really nice restaurant. One of those fancy places where you have to book your table weeks and weeks ahead of time. I stayed completely silent. I did not dare to interrupt him. I did not dare to even breathe too loud. Because if this was what I thought it was, if finally my son was inviting me to celebrate with him, I did not want to ruin it. Yes, Mom, are you still listening to me? Yes, son, I am listening. Well, that is it. I made the reservation for Sunday. The restaurant is called the Pearl Garden. It is a French place, very fancy and elegant. They have a special menu just for that day. The Pearl Garden. I knew that place. I had walked past it before when I went downtown shopping. It had big windows and white tablecloths. Well-dressed people going in and out. It was the kind of place I had never been inside. Too expensive. Too fancy for someone like me. That sounds wonderful, son. Yes, Mom. And well, I wanted to let you know early. So you have time to get ready. You know, get dressed up nicely and everything. Was he telling me to dress up? To get ready? This was real. This was actually happening. My son was inviting me to dinner. To a fancy place. On Mother's Day. After so many years of being forgotten. Of broken promises. Of lonely celebrations. Finally he remembered me. Course, son. What time would we go? I will pick you up around 3:30. The reservation is at 5 o'clock. But I want to get there a bit early. You know how bad traffic gets on Sundays. 3:30. Sunday. My house. He was coming to get me. Perfect, son. I will be ready and waiting. All right, Mom, see you then. Take care. You too, son. And thank you. Really. Do not mention it, Mom. See you Sunday. He hung up the phone. I sat there with the phone still in my hand, looking at the black screen, repeating the conversation in my head, making sure I heard it correctly, that I did not misunderstand anything at all. My son had invited me to dinner, to a fancy restaurant, for Mother's Day. I stood up from the chair. I turned off the stove. I was not hungry anymore. I was too excited to eat anything. I went upstairs to my bedroom. I opened my closet door wide. I started looking through all my clothes. What was I going to wear? Nothing I owned was nice enough for a place like the Pearl Garden. My dresses were all old and out of style. Clothes I bought many years ago when I still went places. When there were still reasons to dress up nicely. I needed to buy something new. Something beautiful. Something that would make my son proud to be seen with me. The next morning I drove to the shopping mall. I had not been there in many months. Maybe even a whole year. I had no reason to go. I had nowhere special to go. But now I did. Now I had the most important dinner of my entire life. I walked into a big department store. I moved between the racks of dresses, touching the soft fabrics, looking at all the different colors. I felt strange and out of place, like I did not recognize myself anymore. Like that woman buying a new dress could not possibly be me. A saleswoman came over to me. Can I help you find anything today, ma'am? I am looking for a dress for a dinner. Something nice but not too fancy. What kind of occasion is it for? It is for Mother's Day. My son is taking me out to dinner. The saleswoman smiled at me warmly. How lovely and special. Come with me, I will show you some styles you might like. She took me to a section with more formal dresses. She felt the materials. She pulled out hangers to show me. This one would look beautiful on you. It is blue, very classy and elegant. And this color is very flattering on most people. I tried on the blue dress in the fitting room. Fit me nicely. It was not too tight. It was not too loose. It was absolutely perfect. I looked like a lady going to a fancy dinner with her son. I looked like a mother who matters. I will take this one. Excellent choice, ma'am. Do you need shoes to match? Purse maybe. I ended up buying black shoes with small heels. Small purse. A pretty shawl in case it was cold inside the restaurant. I spent $280 total. It was a lot of money. More than I had spent on myself in many years. But it was worth every penny. This night was worth everything. I spent the next few days getting ready mentally, thinking about what I would talk about with Marcus during dinner, about how we would make up for all that lost time, about how maybe this was the beginning of something new, a different relationship, better. I told my neighbor Helen about it. She was one of the few people I still talk to, a lady my age who also lived alone, who also had children who rarely visited. Helen, my son is taking me to dinner on Sunday. To a very fancy restaurant. Oh Diane, that is so wonderful. I'm so happy for you. It was about time that boy remembered his mother. Yes, Helen, I feel like things are really going to change now. I feel like he finally understood that I need attention too. That I also exist. Hope so, Diane. You deserve that and so much more. After everything you have done for him your whole life. Her words filled my heart with hope. Yes, I deserved this. I deserved my son seeing me, valuing me, spending time with me. On Saturday I cleaned my entire house from top to bottom. Even though it was already clean. It was already spotless. But I needed to do something. I needed to burn off all that nervous energy I had inside me. I washed my hair with special shampoo. I did a treatment I bought just for this. I painted my fingernails. I plucked my eyebrows. Every detail mattered so much. I wanted to look good. I wanted Marcus to see that I made an effort. That this was important to me. Sunday morning I woke up very early. At 6 o'clock in the morning I was already awake. Even though I did not need to get ready until the afternoon. I ate very little breakfast. I was too nervous. My stomach felt like a ball of nerves. I spent the morning watching television without really paying attention to what was on. I looked at the clock every 5 minutes. Time moved so slowly. So painfully slowly. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon I started getting ready. I took a long shower calmly. I put lotion all over my whole body. I dried my hair carefully. I pulled it back into that elegant style I had practiced in the mirror. I put on my new blue dress. My new black shoes. My gold earrings. Put on light makeup. I did not want to look overdone. I just wanted to look nice. Like a mother going out with her son. I looked at myself in the mirror. And for the first time in such a long time I liked what I saw. I looked like someone with value. Like someone who deserves to be taken to a nice place. I went downstairs to my living room. I sat down with my purse on my lap. It was 3:30. Any minute now. Any minute my son would arrive. Any minute this new chapter would begin. I waited and watched out the window. Listening to every car that drove past. Wondering if it was him. Wondering if he was close. At 25 minutes before 4. My heart started beating faster and faster. Almost here. He was almost here. And then I heard it. The engine. The car stopping right in front of my house. I stood up quickly. I grabbed my purse tight. I took a deep breath. This was it. This was finally happening. I walked toward my front door. I put my hand on the doorknob. Smiled. Opened it. And that was when my entire world fell apart and crashed. Because it was not just Marcus standing there. It was Marcus with Jennifer. And with Patricia. And Patricia was dressed like she was going to meet the president. Her dress was gold and long and shiny. It had sparkly sequins that reflected the sunlight. She wore a silk scarf draped over her shoulders. Tall high-heeled shoes. A pearl necklace that probably cost more than my entire house. Her hair was styled perfectly. Her makeup looked like it was done by a professional. Me standing in my doorway with my blue mall dress. With my small-heeled shoes. With my little purse. Looking exactly like what I was. A mother who had tried her best. A mother who had believed. Patricia walked up my front steps like she was walking on a fashion runway. With that confidence that only people who never doubt their place in the world have. She looked me up and down slowly. And smiled. Diane, what a cute little dress. Very appropriate for staying at home today. The words hit me like stones. Staying at home. Why would I be staying at home? I was going to the dinner. Marcus had invited me. He told me to get ready. To dress up nicely. I looked at my son seeking an explanation. Some sign that this was a misunderstanding. That Patricia was confused. That obviously I was going. But Marcus did not look at me. His eyes were glued to his phone. Like whatever was on that screen was more important. Than his mother standing at the door. Waiting to go to dinner with him. Patricia walked right past me. She entered my living room without asking if she could. Like it was her house. Like she had every right. She stood in the center and turned around slowly. Looking at everything. Judging. Finding it all lacking. Jennifer came in behind her. At least she looked uncomfortable. She gave me a quick, weak smile. That smile you give when you know something is very wrong. But you do not have the courage to say it out loud. Marcus was the last one to enter my house. Finally he put his phone away. Finally he looked at me. And I saw something in his eyes I had never seen before. Or maybe it had always been there. And I just never wanted to see it. Complete indifference. Total lack of caring. Patricia turned toward him. Son-in-law, I am all ready for our dinner tonight. I do not want us to be late. You know how those places are. If you arrive late, they give away your table. Our dinner. She said our dinner. Like it was something they had planned together. Like she was the special guest. Like I did not even exist. And then Marcus spoke. And with those words he destroyed the last thing I had. Mom, did you really think this was for you? The air left my lungs completely. The words just floated in the space between us. Surreal. Oh cruel. Oh final. What was all I could whisper? Tiny question. Even though my brain already knew the answer. But my heart refused to accept it. Marcus sighed like I was a foolish child. Who did not understand simple things. Like he had to explain something obvious. To someone very slow. The reservation, Mom. It is for 3 people. Jennifer, Patricia, and me. I thought that was clear when we talked on the phone. Clear. When was it clear? I went through our conversation in my head again. Every single word. Every phrase. I made a reservation for Mother's Day. Get ready and dress up nicely. I will pick you up at 3:30. In what part of that conversation was it clear that I was not invited? In what part did he tell me the dinner was for his mother-in-law instead of his actual mother? But you said you were picking me up. That I should dress up nice. Yes, Mom, I am picking you up because I need you to keep some boxes I have in my car trunk. And I told you to dress up because I thought maybe you were going out somewhere. I do not know. With your friends or something. My friends. What friends? The few women I talked to were in the same situation as me. Alone. Forgotten. Waiting for tiny bits of attention from their children. Patricia let out a small giggle. It was not loud. It was not dramatic. It was a tiny delicate giggle. But full of poison. Full of victory. Oh Diane, did you really think the dinner was for you? But Marcus invited me many weeks ago. We have been planning this together. He even helped me pick out this dress. Right, son-in-law. Marcus nodded his head yes. Yes, we went to 4 different stores until we found the perfect one. They had gone shopping together. My son had taken his mother-in-law to buy a dress. For a Mother's Day dinner. A dinner where he was taking another mother. Not his own. I was still standing in the same spot. With my purse in my hand. With my new dress on. With my hopes shattered into pieces at my feet. Jennifer finally spoke up. Her voice was soft and almost apologetic. But not enough to actually do anything. Mother-in-law, it is just that Mom really insisted so much. You know how she is. And well, Marcus wanted to do something special for her. You understand, right? No, I did not understand. I did not understand how my son could do something special for another mother. On Mother's Day. I did not understand how he could see me standing there. Dressed up. Waiting. And feel absolutely nothing. Marcus looked at his watch on his wrist. It is already 3:45. We really have to go now. Where are your garage keys, Mom? I need to put the boxes in there quickly. I handed him the keys. I do not know why. Maybe my body was on autopilot. Maybe I still had not fully processed what was happening. He went out to the garage. I heard him opening his car trunk. Dragging boxes. Putting them in my garage. Like nothing was wrong. Like he had not just destroyed me. Patricia adjusted her scarf around her shoulders. She looked at her reflection in my window glass. She fixed a piece of her hair. Satisfied with herself. Satisfied with her place in my son's life. You know, Diane, you should look for activities to do. Something to fill your time. It is sad to see a woman your age so alone. So dependent on her son. There are groups and clubs. Things for senior citizens. Senior citizens. Like she was not my exact age. Like she was young. Like the problem was me and my loneliness. Not my son and his cruelty. Jennifer touched my arm lightly. It was a quick, uncomfortable gesture. Mother-in-law, please do not feel bad. Another day we will come visit you. Promise. When we have time. When we have time. Those words again. That later that never arrived. Marcus came back from the garage. He wiped his hands together. All done, Mom. They are stored away. Just some boxes with old books. Some of Jennifer's winter clothes. They are not in your way, right? Not in the way. Nothing was ever in the way. Not his boxes. Not his broken promises. Not his complete indifference. Everything had space in my house. In my life. In my heart that refused to close the door on him. Well, we should get going now. The reservation is at 5 o'clock sharp. And with this traffic we are cutting it close. They all walked toward the door together. All three of them. Patricia leading the way. Jennifer in the middle. Marcus at the back. Like a family. A family where I had no place at all. Marcus stopped at my doorway. He turned to look back at me. Oh, Mom, one more thing. On Monday some people are coming to fix your leaking bathroom pipe. I gave them your phone number. They will call you to confirm what time. Remember you told me about the leak? Yes, I had mentioned the leak 3 months ago. During one of our 30-second conversations. And now he was fixing it. Sending someone. Paying for it probably. Doing the bare minimum. So he would not feel like the bad son he really was. Thank you, son. You're welcome, Mom. See you later. And they left. They walked down my front steps together. They got in the car and buckled up. Marcus opened the back door for Patricia like a perfect gentleman. Like the most wonderful son you could imagine. Like the ideal son-in-law anyone would want. Jennifer got in the front passenger seat. Marcus walked around and got in the driver's seat. The engine roared to life. The doors slammed shut. The car pulled away from the curb. And I stood there. Standing in the doorway of my own house. With my blue dress still on. With my gold earrings in my ears. With my purse gripped tight in my shaking hand. Watching the car get smaller as it drove away. Watching them leave me behind. On Mother's Day. Completely alone. The street was empty and quiet. The sun was starting to set. It was getting a bit chilly. But I did not feel it. Felt nothing. Or I felt everything all at once. Could not tell which. I heard my neighbor Helen coming out of her house next door. Diane, did they already leave? I thought you were going with them tonight. I turned to look at her. And she saw my face clearly. She saw my eyes. She saw everything I was feeling. Without me needing to say a single word. Diane, come on. Let us go inside right now. She took me gently by the arm. She guided me back inside my house. She closed the door behind us. She walked me to the living room sofa. She sat me down carefully. She sat right next to me. And there finally the tears came pouring out. They were not quiet tears. They were deep sobs. Painful and raw. Like everything I had kept buried inside for years. Was finally coming out all at once. Helen said nothing at all. She just put her arms around me. She let me cry on her shoulder. She let me release all that pain. That humiliation. That sadness so enormous it did not fit inside my body. I do not know how long we sat like that. Maybe 30 minutes. Maybe 2 hours. Time stopped having any meaning. When I finally calmed down enough. When I had no more tears left to cry. Helen spoke gently. Diane, this is not right. What your son did to you is not right. You do not deserve this treatment. I know, Helen. No. And what are you going to do now? Had no idea. In that moment I had no clue what I was going to do. I only knew that something inside me had changed forever. Something had broken into pieces. Or maybe something had woken up after sleeping for years. I do not know, Helen. But something has to change. This cannot continue like this anymore. She nodded her head in agreement. She handed me a tissue. I wiped my wet face. I took off my nice shoes. I let my hair down from the style. I took off my earrings. Helen stayed with me until it got completely dark outside. Until she was sure I was okay. Or at least okay enough to be left alone. When she finally left, I went upstairs to my bedroom. I took off the blue dress very carefully. I hung it back in my closet. I would probably never wear it again. It would always remind me of this day. This terrible humiliation. I put on my old comfortable pajamas, got into my bed, and I stared at the ceiling above me, thinking, feeling, deciding. I did not sleep at all that night. I stayed awake staring at the ceiling, listening to the silence of my empty house, feeling how something deep inside me was transforming. It was not anger I felt. It was not hatred. It was something much deeper, more definitive. It was clarity. For the very first time in many years, I saw things exactly as they really were. Not as I wanted them to be. Not as I had convinced myself they were. But as they truly were in reality. My son did not love me. Or if he did love me, it was such a small love. So insignificant that it changed nothing at all. It was the kind of love you feel out of obligation. Out of habit. So people do not see you as a bad son. But it was not the kind of love that moves you to action. That makes you spend time. That builds real presence. And I had spent years and years begging for that love. Justifying it. Waiting for it. Believing that one day it would change. That one day he would wake up and realize he had a mother. That one day he would value me. But that day was never going to come. Because Marcus did not want it to come. Because for him things were perfect exactly like this. A mother who always said yes. Who never complained. Who was always available. Who stored his stuff. Who lent him money. Who cooked when he asked. Who accepted the tiny crumbs he threw her. Why would he change something that worked so well for him? I got out of bed when the sun started to rise. There was no point staying in bed anymore. I went down to the kitchen. I made coffee. I sat at my table. And I made a decision. I was not going to cry anymore. I was not going to beg anymore. I was not going to wait anymore. I was not going to be that pathetic mother who accepts anything just to keep a relationship with her son. If Marcus wanted to treat me like I did not matter, fine. But I was not going to make it easy for him anymore. I finished my coffee. I went up to my room. I opened my laptop computer. I had not used it in many months. I turned it on and waited for it to start up. I logged into my bank account online. I looked at the numbers on the screen. And I started making changes. Had 2 accounts. One savings account and one checking account. And a joint account with Marcus. That we opened years ago when his father died. It was supposed to be for emergencies, we said. So he would have access to money if I ever needed something. If something happened to me. But over the years that account had become Marcus's personal bank. He took out money whenever he wanted. Without telling me. Without asking permission. Because technically it was his account too. And I never said anything. Never checked. Never complained. Till now. I looked at the transactions from the last 6 months. Withdrawals of $700. Of $1,000. Of $1,500. Never huge amounts. But constant, frequent, and I had never asked what they were for. Never questioned. Never complained. I added it all up in my head. In 6 months Marcus had taken almost $16,000 from that account. Money I had put there. Money from my pension. Money from selling some of my husband's things. My money. I closed that joint account right there. I transferred everything that was left to my personal account. The one only I controlled. The one Marcus did not even know existed. It was almost $18,000. My savings. My security. My future. I called the bank as soon as they opened at 9 o'clock in the morning. Good morning. This is Diane Peterson. How can I help you, Mrs. Peterson? I need to close a joint account today. Of course, Mrs. Peterson. Do you have the account number? I gave it to her. The woman on the phone checked her computer. I see this is a joint account with Marcus Peterson. Does he agree to close the account? It is my money. I opened that account. I have been putting money in it. And I want to close it today. I understand, ma'am. I just need you to come to the bank branch to sign some papers. Can you come in today? I will be there in 1 hour. Perfect. I will be waiting for you. Hung up. I got dressed in simple clothes. Vince. A shirt. Comfortable shoes. Nothing special. I was not dressing up for anyone. I was not preparing for anything. I was just doing what I needed to do. I arrived at the bank. A woman at a desk helped me. She was young, maybe 30 years old. Efficient. Professional. Mrs. Peterson, I see you want to close the joint account. May I ask why? I no longer need it. Understand. And is the other account holder aware of this? No. And he does not need to be. It is my money. He only has access because I gave it to him. But I do not want him to have it anymore. The woman nodded. She asked no more questions. She printed papers. She passed them to me. I signed them. 5 minutes later, the account was closed forever. I also want to make another change. I have an extra credit card in my son's name. I want to cancel it immediately. The woman typed on her computer. Yes, here it is. It is an authorized user card on your main account. Are you sure you want to cancel it? Completely sure. Very well. I am canceling it right now. The card will stop working in the next few minutes. Perfect. Anything else I can help you with, Mrs. Peterson? Yes. I want to change the passwords on all my accounts. And I want to turn on notifications for every transaction, every charge, anything that happens in my accounts. I want to know immediately. No problem at all. I will help you with that right now. We spent the next 25 minutes setting everything up. New passwords, notifications, alerts, security. When we finished, my accounts were completely mine. Only mine. Nobody else had access. Nobody else could touch them. I left the bank feeling different, lighter, stronger. I had taken back something. I did not know exactly what. But something inside me had been reset. I drove back home. I ate lunch alone like always. But it did not feel the same anymore. Did not feel sad. Felt like a choice. Like something I decided. Not something forced on me. In the afternoon, I started going through my garage. All those boxes Marcus had left. All those things he did not want in his house, but expected me to store. I started taking them out, one by one. Carried them to my driveway. Opened some. Old books he was never going to read. Clothes that did not fit him anymore. College papers from years ago. Sports trophies he won as a kid. Things with no real value. But that took up my space. My garage. My life. I left them all there in the driveway. If he wanted them, he could come get them. If not, I was going to find someone to take them away. But they were not going to be in my house anymore. Helen came outside and saw me working. Diane, what are you doing? Cleaning, Helen. Taking out things I do not need anymore. She understood immediately. We were not just talking about boxes. Do you need any help? No, thank you. I need to do this by myself. She nodded. She went back to her house. But she stayed outside, sweeping her driveway, watering her plants. But really she was there, keeping me company without invading, being that silent presence that sometimes is all you need. I finished taking out all the boxes. My garage was empty, clean, with space. I breathed deeply. The air smelled different, smelled like freedom. I went inside my house. I sat in my living room, and I waited. I did not know what I was waiting for, but I knew something was going to happen. When you make changes like this, when you take decisions like this, the universe responds. People respond. And Marcus was going to respond very soon. Sunday passed with no news from him. As expected. He was probably still enjoying his perfect dinner. With his perfect mother-in-law. He probably did not even think of me. Of how I had been left. Of how I had felt. Monday morning the plumbers came to fix my bathroom leak. Just like Marcus said they would. They did their work. I paid them with my own money. They left. All very professional. All very distant. Like that gesture of fixing my pipe. Could somehow make up for what he did. Monday afternoon I got a text message from Jennifer. Mother-in-law, thank you for keeping the boxes. When we can we will stop by to get them. I did not answer. The boxes were outside in the driveway. If they wanted them they could come. If not, someone else was going to take them. It was not my problem anymore. Tuesday passed exactly the same. No news. No calls. Like nothing had happened. Like everything was still normal. And maybe for them it was normal. Because for them I was always there. Available. Waiting. Accepting. But Wednesday everything changed completely. Wednesday night my phone started ringing. And it would not stop. Call after call after call. All from the same number. Marcus. I did not answer the first 4 calls. I let it ring. Let it go to voicemail. I wanted him to feel what it was like. To not be heard. To not be attended to. To not matter. But the calls kept coming. 5th. 6th. 7th. With each call the time between one and the next got shorter. More desperate. Finally on the 8th call I answered. Not because I felt sorry for him. Not because I wanted to help him. But because I wanted to hear what was so urgent. What was important enough. Call me 8 times in a row. When normally he did not call me even once a week. Hello. Mom, thank God. Why were you not answering? His voice sounded completely different. Anxious. Nervous. Panic. Nothing like the calm, disinterested tone he always used with me. I was busy doing things. What happened? Mom, I have a really big problem. A very serious problem. I need your help urgently. There it was. The magic word. Help. Whenever he called me it was always for that. Task. Need. Use. What problem, Marcus? They blocked my credit card. The bank card. And I also tried to get into an account and it is closed. And I do not understand why. I tried to take out money and I could not. I tried to use the credit card and it is cancelled. I do not understand what happened. I called the bank and they told me you closed everything. Is that true, Mom? Why did you do that? 'Cause it is my money, Marcus. My account. My card. And I decided to close them. But Mom, I need that money. I have to make a payment tonight. A very important payment. It is $16,000. And the account where I had the money does not exist anymore. I need you to send me that money right now. It is urgent, Mom. Very urgent. $16,000. Exactly the amount he had taken from my account in the last 6 months. What a coincidence. What do you need $16,000 for, Marcus? It is for a business investment, Mom. An opportunity. I have to pay tonight or I lose everything. Please, Mom. I will pay you back next week. Promise you. Lies. I knew they were lies. He never paid money back. Never kept his promises. And I always knew it deep down. But I always believed him anyway. Or pretended to believe him. 'Cause it was easier. Because it let me keep being his mother. Keep being necessary. But not anymore. Not anymore. No, Marcus. There was a silence on the other end of the line. Like my words made no sense at all. Like I had spoken in another language. Like it was impossible that I had said no. What? Mom, I did not hear you right. Did you say no? Yes, I said no. I am not going to send you $16,000. Not 16,000. Not 16. Nothing at all. Another silence. Longer this time. I could hear his breathing on the other end. Rest. Agitated. Trying to process what he was hearing. Mom, you do not understand. It is urgent. If I do not pay tonight I lose everything. I lose the business deal. I lose the money I already put in. I lose everything, Mom. Then you will lose. But it is not going to be with my money. How can you say that? I am your son, Mom. Your only son. How are you going to leave me hanging like this? How are you going to refuse to help me when I need it most? Oh, now he was my son. Now he remembered that detail. When he needed something. When he wanted money. There, yes, I was his mother and he was my son. But on Sunday when he left me standing at the door. When he took his mother-in-law to dinner on Mother's Day. There was no son or mother there. There was only indifference. Do you remember Sunday, Marcus? What does Sunday have to do with this? Everything. It has everything to do with this. Do you remember when you came to my house? And left me standing at the door? While you took Patricia to dinner on Mother's Day. My day. Oh, Mom, are you still stuck on that? I already explained everything to you. The reservation was for 3 people. There was no room for you. What did you want me to do? I wanted you to invite me, Marcus. Your mother. Not your mother-in-law. Or that at least you were honest from the beginning. That you did not call me and tell me to dress up nice. That you did not make me get my hopes up. That you did not make me buy a new dress. Thinking that finally my son remembered me. It was just a dinner, Mom. It is not that big of a deal. You are exaggerating everything. I am not exaggerating, Marcus. And now I understand perfectly. I understand exactly how you see me. I am useful when you need money. When you need me to store things. When you need a favor. But when it comes to spending time with me, to valuing me, to treating me like your mother, there I do not exist at all. It is not like that, Mom. You are misunderstanding everything. I am not misunderstanding anything. I am seeing things exactly as they are. And I am not going to continue with this anymore. I am not going to keep being your personal bank. Your storage unit. Your mother of convenience. Mom, please do not do this to me. I really need that money. I truly need it. If I do not pay tonight, they are going to take me to court. I am going to have serious legal problems. Is that what you want? To see your son with problems? If you have legal problems, it is because you created them. Not me. You made decisions. You made commitments. And now you have to face the consequences like an adult. But you are my mother. Mothers are supposed to help their children. Always. No matter what happens. Yes, mothers help their children. But children also take care of their mothers. Children also respect their mothers. Children also spend time with their mothers. And you have not done any of that in years, Marcus. I work, Mom. Have a life. Have a wife. I have responsibilities. Cannot be with you all the time. I am not asking you to be with me all the time. I was only asking for a lunch once in a while. A phone call that was not to ask for something. A birthday that you remembered. A Mother's Day with me. It was so little I asked for, Marcus. And even so, it was too much for you. I heard voices in the background. Jennifer. She was asking what was happening. Marcus covered the phone. But I still heard him. She does not want to give me the money. I do not know what is wrong with her. What is wrong with me, Marcus? Is that I got tired. That I am not going to accept anymore. That I am not going to keep waiting for crumbs of attention. While giving everything. Mom, please. Let us talk calmly and reasonably. I understand you are upset about Sunday. You are right. I should have been clearer. I should have explained better. I'm sorry, babe. I'm sorry. But now I need your help. We will talk about everything else later. But right now help me with this. No, Marcus. I am not going to help you. And it is not because I want to hurt you. It is not for revenge. It is because you need to learn something important. You need to understand that people are not there just to serve you. That your mother is not a resource you use when it suits you. I am a person with feelings. With dignity. And I deserve respect. I already respect you, Mom. Course I respect you. No, Marcus. You do not respect me. If you respected me, you would not have done what you did Sunday. If you respected me, you would call me even when you did not need anything. If you respected me, you would know what my favorite color is. What my favorite food is. What I like to do. But you know none of that. Because you have never asked. Because you have never been interested. He stayed silent. He had no answer for that. Because it was all true. It was completely true and he knew it. Mom, this is not the time for this conversation. I need that money now. Are you going to give it to me or not? Well, babe. Fine. Perfect. If you will not help me, I will find another way. I always find it. I do not need you, Mom. I have never really needed you. Those words should have hurt me. Should have broken my heart. But they did not. Because finally he was telling the truth. Finally he was being honest. And honesty, even if it hurts, is better than a lie disguised as love. You know, Marcus. I know you do not need me. That is why it is better this way. Better that everyone goes their own way. What does that mean? Are you kicking me out of your life forever? I am not kicking you out. I am just telling you that things are going to change. I am not going to be available every time you need something. I am not going to say yes to everything. I am not going to wait for calls that never come. I am going to live my life. And if you want to be part of it, you are going to have to make a real effort. Not 30-second phone calls. Not quick visits to drop-off boxes. A real effort. You are crazy, Mom. You are completely out of your mind. All this because I did not take you to one stupid dinner. No, Marcus. All this because I realized something important. I have spent years begging for love from someone who is not willing to give it. And I am tired. I got tired of feeling invisible. I got tired of not mattering. I got tired of being your last option. You know what, Mom? Do whatever you want. But when you need something, when you are sick, when you are alone, and you realize you made a mistake, do not call me. 'Cause there I will be saying no. Just like you are doing to me now. That is fine, Marcus. It is a risk I am willing to take. And I hung up. I turned off my phone completely. I put it down on the table. And I sat there in the silence of my living room. My hands trembled a little bit. My heart was beating fast. But I was not scared. I was free. For the first time in years I had said what I felt. I had set boundaries. I had chosen my dignity over his comfort. The phone started vibrating again on the table. Marcus calling again. I did not answer. He called 4 more times. I let it ring. Eventually it stopped. I poured myself a glass of cold water. I sat on my sofa. And I waited for what I knew would come next. Because when you say no to someone who has always received yes, they do not give up so easily. They come back. They try another way. They look for different angles. And that is exactly what happened. 30 minutes later I got a text message from Jennifer. Mother-in-law, please. Marcus is desperate. He really needs that money. I do not know what happened between you two. But please help him. Beg you. I did not reply. 5 minutes later another message. This one longer. Explaining that the business was real. That it was a unique opportunity. That if they did not pay that night they lost everything. That please I should consider helping them. That she herself would pay me back little by little if necessary. I did not reply to that one either. The messages kept coming. From Jennifer. From Marcus. From another phone number. Each one more urgent than the last. Each one with different promises. We will pay you back in 1 week. In 2 weeks. In a month. With interest. Whatever you say, Mom. I turned off my phone completely. I did not want to keep reading. I did not want them to make me doubt. Because I knew if I kept reading, if I kept listening, maybe my old habit of giving in would return. And I could not allow that. Not now. Not after coming so far. I went to bed early that night. And I slept. I truly slept. Better than I had slept in many months. Because I was not waiting for a call. I was not checking my phone. I was not thinking about what else I could do. To earn my son's love. I simply slept. In peace. In silence. Alone but not lonely. Because finally I had myself. And that was enough. I woke up Thursday morning feeling strange. Not bad, just different. Like I had walked through a door. And could not go back. And I did not want to go back. For the first time in a long time the future did not scare me. Made me curious. I turned on my phone. 41 missed calls. 23 messages. All from Marcus and Jennifer. I did not read them. I deleted them all. I blocked their numbers. If they wanted to talk to me they would have to come in person. They would have to make the effort. Ate breakfast calmly. Coffee. Toast. Fresh fruit. I sat at my table and enjoyed every bite. I was not in a hurry. I did not have to be waiting for the phone. I did not have to be available for anyone. Except myself. At 11 o'clock in the morning I heard a car park outside. I looked out the window. It was Marcus. He came alone this time. His face looked exhausted. Red eyes. Like he had not slept at all. He got out of the car and walked toward my door. He rang the doorbell. Once. 3 times. I did not open immediately. Took my time. I finished my coffee. I wiped my mouth. Fixed my hair. And then, only then I went to the door. Opened it. Marcus was standing there with an expression I had never seen on him before. It was not anger. It was not frustration. It was something closer to panic. To real desperation. Mom, thank God. I thought you were not going to open. You blocked my phone. Yes, I did. Why are you doing all this to me? I already told you yesterday, Marcus. Things changed. Changed. Mom, please. Let us leave all that for later. Right now I need you to listen to me. I need that money. I truly need it. It is not a lie. It is not made up. I have a serious problem. How serious, Marcus? He took a deep breath. He ran his hands over his face. He looked defeated, vulnerable. For the first time in years he looked like a son who needs his mother. Not like someone who just uses his mother. I invested money in a business with some partners. I gave them $35,000. They promised me that in 2 months I would double the money. But something went wrong. The business did not work out. And now they are demanding I put in another $16,000 to save what is left. If I do not do it, I lose everything. The $35,000 I already put in. Plus my reputation. They can sue me, Mom. They can take everything from me. And does Jennifer know about this? She is furious at me. I used savings we had for our house. Money that belonged to both of us. And now I do not know how to fix it. And you thought I would get you out of trouble. Always. 'Cause you have always helped me, Mom. You have always been there when I need you. Yes, Marcus. I have always been there when you need me. But where have you been when I need you? Where were you on my birthday? Where were you at Christmas? Where were you on Sunday when you left me standing at the door? He could not look me in the eyes. His gaze went down to the ground, like a child being scolded. But he was not a child. He was a 41-year-old man, who was facing the consequences of his decisions. I'm sorry, Mom. I truly am sorry. I know I have been a bad son. I know I have not given you the time you deserve. I know I have been selfish. But I swear I am going to change. If you help me with this, everything is going to be different. I'm going to visit you more. We're going to do things together. Promise you, Mom. Promises. Always promises. The same words I had heard before. After every disappointment. After every forgotten moment. Promises that lasted until he got what he wanted. And then everything went back to being the same. Do you know how many times you have promised me that, Marcus? How many times have you told me you are going to change? This time is different, Mom. I swear on my life. No, it is not different. And I am not going to give you the money. His expression changed completely. The vulnerability disappeared. In its place returned something more familiar. Frustration. Anger. Resentment. Why are you being so stubborn? It is my life that is at stake here. My future. My family. Does that not matter to you? Course it matters to me. You are my son. You are always going to matter to me. But mattering to me does not mean rescuing you from your mistakes. It does not mean being your solution every time you make bad decisions. Then what? Are you just going to let me fall? Are you going to let me lose everything? I am not letting you fall. You put yourself in this situation. You invested money you did not have. You made promises you could not keep. And now you have to find a way out. But it is not going to be with my money. I have no other option, Mom. If you do not help me, I do not know what I am going to do. Is that what you want? To see me destroyed? I want to see you learn, Marcus. I want you to understand that actions have consequences. I want you to grow up. Because you keep acting like a child who expects Mommy to fix everything. I am not asking you to fix everything. I am just asking for a loan. I will pay you back with interest if you want. I do not want interest. I do not want your money. What I want is for you to value me. For you to respect me. For you to treat me like your mother. Not like your bank. I already told you I am going to change. What else do you want me to say? I do not want you to say anything, Marcus. I want you to show me. I've heard many words. Very few actions. Marcus stayed quiet. Breathing hard. Trying to control his temper. I could see his mind working. Looking for another angle. Another way to convince me. And what if I give you collateral? What if I sign a legal document? What if I leave you something as a guarantee that I will pay you? My car. I can leave you my car as a guarantee. I do not want your car, Marcus. Then what do you want? Tell me what you want and I will give it to you. But help me with this, please. I looked him directly in the eyes. This man who had come from my body. Who had grown up in my house. who had been the center of my world for so many years. And I felt something I had never felt before. Distance. A healthy, necessary distance. I want you to leave, Marcus. I want you to think carefully about all this. About who you want to be. About what kind of son you want to be. And when you have a real answer, not just pretty words because you need something, then we can talk. Are you kicking me out? I am not kicking you out. I am giving you space to grow. To solve this like the adult you are. I cannot believe you are doing this to me. After everything I have done for you. Everything you have done for me. Please, Marcus, enlighten me. Tell me what is everything you have done for me. He stayed completely quiet. Because there was nothing to say. In the last 4 years since his father died, he had not done anything for me. Nothing real. Nothing that mattered. Fixing my bathroom pipe did not count. Sending flowers once a year did not count. 30-second phone calls did not count. Exactly. You cannot say anything. Because you have not done anything. And it is okay, Marcus. I am not blaming you. I am just showing you reality. So you see it the way I see it. Marcus took a step backward. His expression was one of disbelief. Like he could not process that his mother who always said yes, who was always there, was telling him no. Fine. Perfect. If that is how you want things to be, then that is how they will be. I will not ask you for anything ever again. And I hope that when you need something you remember this day. You remember how you left me alone when I needed you most. I did not leave you alone, Marcus. I am letting you grow up. There is a big difference. He turned around sharply. He walked toward his car. He got in. He started the engine. And he drove away fast. Without looking back. Without saying goodbye. He just left. Closed my door. I leaned against it. And I breathed. Long, liberating. Helen appeared at her door across the way. Are you okay, Diane? Yes, Helen. I'm okay. Better than I have been in years. She nodded. She understood. Because she had gone through something similar with her own children. We all go through it eventually. The moment where we have to choose. Between pleasing others or respecting ourselves. The following days were strange. Silent. My phone did not ring. There were no messages. There were no calls. It was like Marcus had decided to keep his word. About not looking for me again. And it was okay. It was more than okay. Because for the first time in years I was not waiting. I was not worrying. I was not anxious to hear from him. I started to fill my time with other things. I joined a book club at the library. I met other women my age. Interesting women with their own stories. With lives beyond their children. I signed up for a watercolor painting class. Something I always wanted to do. But never had time for. 'Cause I was always waiting. Waiting for Marcus to need something. Waiting to be useful. Helen and I started going out to walk together in the evenings. Talk. We laughed. We told each other our life stories. And I realized something. I had been so focused on being a mother. That I had forgotten to be Diane. Person. The woman. The complete human being beyond just that role. 1 week passed. Then 2 weeks. Marcus's silence continued. And I was still okay. Still alive. Still discovering who I was without him. Who I could be when I was not defined only by being his mother. But then one afternoon, 3 weeks after our last conversation, I heard the doorbell ring. Opened the door. And there he was again. But he looked different this time. He did not come with that desperation from before. He did not come with demands. He came with something more like humility. Like real shame. Hey, Mom. Hey, Marcus. Can I come in? I hesitated for a moment. But something in his expression made me step aside. He entered. He sat in my living room. I sat across from him. Waiting. Marcus did not speak right away. He sat there looking at his hands. Like he was searching for the right words. Like for the first time in his life he did not know what to say. Finally he looked up at me. I did not come to ask you for money, Mom. I came to tell you that you were right. About everything. I stayed quiet. Waiting. Because I had learned something important. Words without actions mean nothing. And I needed to see what else he had to say. I lost the money. The $35,000 I invested. All of it. The partners disappeared. It was a scam, Mom. A very well done scam. And I felt like a complete idiot. Jennifer almost left me. I still do not know if we are going to stay together. I lost my reputation. I have debts. I have a huge mess in my life. I am very sorry, Marcus. And during these 3 weeks while I was trying to fix this whole mess, I realized something. I realized that every time I had a problem I ran to you. I always expected you to solve it. And I never asked myself what you needed. I never asked myself how you were. If you were alone, if you were sad, if you needed something. His eyes filled with tears. Real tears. Not manipulation tears. Not tears to get something. Tears of true regret. I was a terrible son, Mom. Not just these last few weeks. These last 4 years since Dad died. I left you alone. I made you invisible. I treated you like you did not matter. And the worst part is that I knew it. I knew it was wrong. But it was easier to ignore it. It was easier to focus on my life. And forget about you. I said nothing. I just listened to him. Because this was what I had been waiting for. Not money. Not gifts. Not empty promises. Just honesty. Just someone seeing what I had been feeling all this time. On Mother's Day Sunday when I saw you standing at the door. With your new dress. With your eyes full of hope. I knew I was doing something horrible. But I did it anyway. Because Patricia had insisted so much. Because Jennifer asked me to. Because it was easier to disappoint you than to face them. And that has no forgiveness, Mom. Has no justification. The tears ran down his face now. And I felt something move inside my chest. It was not immediate forgiveness. It was not forgetting everything. But it was something. It was a small crack in the wall I had built. Tiny crack of hope. I do not expect you to forgive me, Mom. Not now. Maybe never. But I needed you to know that I understand. I understand what I did. I understand the pain I caused. And I am going to change. Not because I need something from you. Not because I want your money. But because I need to be a better man. Better son. Better person. He wiped his tears with the back of his hand. He breathed deeply. And he took something from his pocket. It was an envelope. This is for you. It is not money. It is not a gift. It is something different. Opened it. Inside was a letter. Handwritten in his handwriting. Page after page. I read the first few lines. It was an apology. A real apology. Detailed. Specific. It mentioned every forgotten birthday. Every unreturned call. Every broken promise. Everything was there. Acknowledged. Accepted. And at the end of the letter there was something else. Commitment. Not just words. Plan. A promise with specific dates. Lunch every Sunday. Phone calls every Tuesday. Celebrations together. Real time. Real effort. I know this does not make up for what I did, Mom. I know it is going to take time. But I want to try. If you let me. If you still want me to be part of your life. I looked at him. At this man who was my son. Who would always be my son. And I made a decision. Not based on hope. Not based on illusion. But based on what I had just heard. On what I had just seen. On this small but significant show of real change. I'm going to give you one chance, Marcus. One. But things are going to be different. I am going to be different. I am not going to be the mother who accepts anything again. I am not going to wait for crumbs again. If you want to be in my life, you are going to have to make the effort. For real. Not just when it suits you. I am going to do it, Mom. Promise you. And this time I am going to keep my promise. We will see. The following months were different. Not perfect. There were slip-ups. There were moments when Marcus forgot. But when he did, I reminded him. And he apologized. And he tried again. Little by little we started to build something new. Not the relationship we had before. That was broken forever. But something different. Something more honest. More real. More balanced. Marcus came to my painting classes. He sat next to me and painted terribly. But he tried. And that mattered. He called me on Tuesdays like he promised. Sometimes the call was short. 10 minutes. But he called. And he asked how I was. And he listened to my answer. On Sundays we had lunch together. Sometimes at my house. Sometimes at his house. Sometimes at a restaurant. And Jennifer started treating me differently too. With more respect. With more attention. I never gave him the $16,000. And he never asked me for them again. He learned to solve his problems. To live within his means. To be responsible. And I learned something too. I learned that it is okay to set boundaries. That it is okay to say no. That it is okay to demand respect. That a mother's love does not mean sacrificing yourself until you disappear. It means loving yourself enough to teach your children to love you too. 1 year after the Mother's Day that changed everything. Marcus came to my house early in the morning. He brought fresh flowers, wrapped gift, and a reservation for two. For him and for me. At the Pearl Garden. Mom, let me take you to dinner today. To make up for last year. To start a new tradition. And we went. We sat at that table that should have been mine from the very beginning. We ate, talked. We even laughed. And for the first time in years I felt seen. Valued. Loved. Not in the desperate way I used to need his love. But in a calm way. Healthy. Because I was no longer a mother begging for attention. I was Diane Peterson. A 64-year-old woman. Who had learned to value herself. Who had her own life. Her own interests. Her own strength. And my son finally understood it. Finally he understood. That he was not losing me when I set boundaries. I was finding myself. And by finding myself he also found his mother. The real one. Not the one who let herself be used. But the one who deserved respect. And that in the end was what saved us both. But the lessons did not stop there. Because life has a way of teaching us over and over. Until we truly learn. 6 months after that Mother's Day. Marcus and Jennifer had a baby. A beautiful little girl they named Sophie. And when I held that tiny baby in my arms for the first time, I felt something shift inside me again. This was a new beginning. Chance to break the cycle. Chance to show this little girl what healthy love looks like. Marcus asked me to babysit Sophie one afternoon. And I said yes. Not out of obligation. Not because I was desperate for connection. But because I wanted to. Because I had set boundaries with my time. And this was time I chose to give. While I held Sophie I told her a story. Not a fairy tale. But the truth. Sweet girl, I said softly. Your daddy loves you so much. But let me tell you something important. Love is not just words. Love is showing up. Love is remembering. Love is making time. And if anyone ever makes you feel invisible, even someone you love, you have the right to say no. You have the right to walk away. Until they learn to treat you right. Sophie looked up at me with those big eyes. Not understanding the words. But maybe somehow feeling their weight. Their truth. Marcus walked in and heard the last part. Mom, are you giving my daughter life lessons already? She is only 3 months old. It is never too early to learn about self-respect, I said with a smile. He sat down next to me. He looked at his daughter. Then at me. You are right, Mom. And I am going to make sure she never has to learn it the hard way. Like I did. That she always knows her worth. From day one. Good, I said. Because that is the greatest gift you can give her. And the cycle was broken. Not perfectly. Not completely. But enough. Enough that Sophie would grow up knowing she mattered. That her grandmother mattered. That women matter. Not because of what they give. But because of who they are. Helen came over for tea that afternoon after Marcus left. She saw the change in me. Peace. Diane, you look happy. Really happy. Helen. For the first time in years I am happy. You did something very brave, you know. Not many women can set boundaries with their children. We are taught to give and give until there is nothing left. No. But I finally learned. That you cannot pour from an empty cup. That loving others starts with loving yourself. That being a good mother does not mean being a doormat. Helen raised her teacup. To strong women. To mothers who remember they are people too. I clinked my cup against hers. To second chances. and to knowing when to say no. We sat there in comfortable silence. Two women who had learned the same hard lesson. That love without respect is not love. That family without boundaries is not family. That giving without receiving is not a relationship. It is just slow disappearance. And I had almost disappeared. Almost. But I chose to come back. Chose myself. And in choosing myself I saved us both. My son learned to be a better man. And I learned to be a whole person. Not just someone's mother. But Diane. A woman with value. With dignity. With the strength to say no when no is needed. And yes when yes is true. That night I sat in my living room. The same living room where everything had fallen apart. Where I had stood in my blue dress. Watching my son drive away with someone else's mother. But now it felt different. Felt like mine. Like a place where I belonged. Not just as someone waiting. But as someone living. Picked up my phone. Not to call Marcus. Not to check if he needed anything. But to look at a photo. A photo from that second Mother's Day dinner. Marcus and me at the Pearl Garden. Both of us smiling. Real smiles. Not forced. Not fake. Real. I set the photo as my background. Reminder. Of how far we had come. Of how much had changed. Of what happens when you choose dignity over desperation. The house was quiet. But it was not the lonely quiet anymore. It was the peaceful quiet. The quiet of someone who is enough. All by themselves. And if Marcus called tomorrow. Wonderful. And if he did not. I would still be okay. Because I had learned the most important lesson. That my worth was not determined by how much my son loved me. But by how much I loved myself. And I loved myself enough now. Enough to say no. Enough to say yes. Enough to live. Really live. Not just exist in the shadows. Waiting for someone else to give me light. I was my own light. And that changed everything. I stood up and walked to the window. I looked out at the street. At the neighborhood I had lived in for 30 years. The same houses. The same trees. But everything looked different. 'Cause I was different. Tomorrow I would wake up at 6. I would make my coffee. I would sit at my table. But I would not be waiting anymore. I would be planning. Planning my painting class. My book club meeting. My walk with Helen. My life. My full, complete, valuable life. And yes, there would be room for Marcus. For Sophie. For family. But they were no longer my whole world. They were part of it. An important part. But not the only part. 'Cause I had learned. The hard way. The painful way. But I had learned. That the most important relationship I would ever have. Was the one with myself. And that relationship. Finally. Was strong.